Welcome back to another Alvado video. In today's video, we're going to be watching a game played by Dish Soap. Now, I got my blanket with me today. I'm nice and cozy, but you know who else is cozy? This Dish Soap guy. He's nice and cozy in the rank 1 spot. He is more than 150 LP above everyone else on the ladder right now. I mean, look at his scores right here. 3, 1, 1, 1, 6, 1, 2. And let me tell you, they did not get any worse. He had an average of 2.6 on his climb to rank 1. This guy is something else. He might actually just be the GOAT. I don't know. But we're not here to talk about how much better he is than everyone else. I mean, we are, but we got to start talking about this game. So I actually had watched this game live, and I thought this was a perfect game to talk about because his spot was not looking that good, and then he somehow turned it around, and we'll see what happens. So he starts Rod. He actually released a guide. He insta-snap clicks Battle Mage. It was Battle Mage, Sunfire, and something else. I think it was like Salvage Bin or something. Battle Mage, after going Rod start, I think is pretty decent. He also had this Talon pair, so he's considering playing Talon, which is not on that many people's radars right now. I think a lot of people understand how strong the comp can be, but they don't want to play it because it is kind of hard to play, which is exactly why we're going to be watching this game played by Dish Soap. Also, if you want to know how he prioritizes some of his units, he does not even click Lulu 2 there. So he has this Laser Core opener. I've talked about this in previous videos. This Laser Core opener is extremely strong. So he just has 3 Laser Core in, and he's looking to either continue to play it or flex out of it. But nonetheless, the Augment is really good at killing units. You can see right here, even a board with literally Renekton 1, Ashe 1, and Yasuo 1 happens to kill 2 units there. And it's because the Laser Core damage is just kind of good. Damage it does a lot of damage. So he's able to get this Talon 2 here. And Talon 2, extremely powerful with Battle Mage. Now, Talon definitely gets activated a lot more by his traits, and he doesn't have either of his traits in, but nonetheless, he's just trying to save HP and get as much gold as he possibly can and kill as much units as he can along the way. He insta goes for Spat. So this is one of the reasons, or this is one of the ways where you can figure out whether or not it's a good idea to play the Ox Force or the Renegade comp, including Viego or Talon. The main indication is whether or not you have an extra Spat. Because if you do not have Ox Force or an extra Ox Force or an extra Renegade, it can often be extremely hard to actually play this comp. You have to play too many bad units, and it's just not worth it. So he's trying to 5 loss here. He chooses to sell his whole board because he can lose to this guy. If he has 3 Laser Core in, plus 2, or plus a Talon 2, he might actually win. So he chooses to sell. And he's looking for the 5 loss. No one is going to contest his 5 loss, so he gets his 5 loss for free. He's making 50 gold. That's a lot of gold. He had an econ opener. You can know if it's an econ opener depending on how many items you get, and you only had 2 items. So it makes sense to 5 loss. And when I was watching this game, I was looking at his spot, and even though he is really rich, it is pretty difficult to understand exactly what you're supposed to do from this point. And I was definitely thinking, okay, he has 6 Talons, he's gonna go for Talon 3. In my mind, that's what I was considering. He's gonna roll and hit Talon 3, he's gonna itemize the Talon 3, and he's gonna stabilize around Talon 3. What actually ends up happening is he just chooses to roll until he's stable, and he doesn't actually go for Talon 3. And I think one of the main reasons why he did that is because if you want to stabilize around Talon 3, you really want at least like a 2 itemized Talon, and based on the items that he has, he can't really itemize this talent. He's not going to win out from the spot that he was in because he doesn't have a 3-item talent. And that is one of the plays that I think makes him above the rest, because when you're watching him, he makes a lot of plays that make a lot of sense. He chooses not to roll here because he already has enough upgrades. He has the Ox Force in, he has 2 talent 2s. He's got a lot going for him. He's strong enough where he knows he's not going to bleed out. So he doesn't need to actually continue rolling. He just is rolling until he is strong enough. And so yeah, he's the type of player where you can kind of watch him play the game. And there's a lot of times where he'll make a decision. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. He does this because of this. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I can do that. Like, because you just make the play that makes sense, right? You're just continually trying to make the play that makes sense. But then you get into a game and you try and emulate his play style, and it is so hard to emulate. Like, making the plays that actually make the most sense at like each point in time is so much harder to actually execute and actually do than when you watch someone who's like just making the correct decisions. And also with these 6 talons, he might have considered rolling for talon 3, but the thing is that he didn't natural any more talons. If he naturaled more talons, maybe he would have considered rolling sleight. But again, he's not naturaling any more talents. He's just going to use it as an item holder, and then he's going to eventually transfer the items to Viego. So the main reason why Ox Force Spat is so strong is because you cannot hit 6 Ox Force unless you find Aphelios. And Aphelios is really hard to find because he's a 5 cost. Even you could roll a bunch of gold on 8 and still not find Aphelios, so you will never hit that 6 Ox Force spike. But with a Spat, you can play 6 Ox Force until you find Aphelios, and then you just replace one of the garbage units, either Annie or Fiora, for Aphelios. So that is one of the main reasons why this comp hinges so much on a Spat. And then also, if you want to play the Renegade variation, you cannot even hit 6 Renegade unless you have a Spat, and you have to find Leona. So playing around Renegade is extremely difficult. He chooses to roll Sleight on 7 here. He's looking for upgrades. I think he's looking for, you know, 1 Viego to try and stabilize. If he gets a Viego, then he can get Renegade in, and he can get 4 Ox Force in. So 1 Viego is like a massive spike. So you see there, he chooses to roll down on 7 because he knows that the power spike of hitting this 1 Viego is enough where he does not have to roll anymore on level 7, and he's just going to try and go level 8 from here. So now another crazy thing that he does is he chooses to itemize his Viego in this way. He has Sword, Tear, Cloak, Glove, and he chooses to make BT Hodge. Now you might be looking at that and you're thinking, okay, is this guy like trolling? Where's the damage? But the thing is, the damage is from Renegade, and the damage is from Battle Mage, and the damage is from Knife's Edge. He has 2 combat augments. He just needs this unit to stay alive. So all he does is just build a bunch of healing. And so, you know how in the previous play, I talked about how he was stable with Viego 1. Well, what ended up happening is that now he was shown a hero augment. He got the Viego hero augment, and then you get one of the Viegos through the orb, so he had Viego pair. And now he spikes by hitting 1 more Viego, because then that he can make Viego 2. I'm almost certain that if he does not get that extra Viego there, he probably would have just waited to go level 8 on 4-5, and then he would have rolled it down and tried to get Viego 2 from there. But he made the decision to choose and roll on level 7 because the first time he rolled to hit 1 Viego, the second time he rolls to hit 1 Viego. because now he is stable. This Viego 2 is stable enough to get him through 4-2 and through 4-3, so he's not taking any damage. And you can see here, he's continuing to streak, and he is going to keep on streaking. He also hit some Aphelios on his roll down, so he was able to drop Fiora, I think. Fiora or any one of those. Actually, no, he's dropped Annie because, yeah, he wants Fiora or Duelist because he has Nyla. And if you do not know what the Viego carry hero augment does, I'm actually not sure either. I think it's like he gets some amount of AP, and then I think he gets more and more damage as the fight goes on. And yeah, I mean, also getting this Viego carry hero augment makes his item build a little less grief, because without the extra AP and extra damage, then he probably would be lacking damage as soon as he hits like late stage 5, early stage 6. But on top of getting on top of double combat augment, battle mage plus Knife's Edge plus carry augment, he really just needs this Viego to stay alive. So getting the double Omnivamp is like pretty smart, and that's just what his items were at the time. In a meta full of mech set frontlines and aces and like all this, it's pretty cool to see that comps like Viego can actually do something, especially since it's a pretty good counter to the mech set frontline builds, because even though you're never killing this mech with your Viego, he chooses to target like the largest clump. And most of the time, the largest clump is not in the front line, it's in the back line, because your entire front line is just a solo unit, just one unit. And again, if you want to continue to see exactly how much he prioritizes specific units, if you do not know, Fiddlesticks is extremely powerful right now. He was already strong last patch, and they just buffed him even more because they want 5 costs to be more valuable. They want rolling on level 8 to be more valuable, so the game isn't just roll on level 7. And so, but the thing is that Fiddlesticks is Fiddlesticks is kind of insane right now, and we see the insane number 2 unit right here, the Urgot, and he chooses to play Fiddlesticks over this Nunu because he doesn't think that Mascot is better than having this Fiddlesticks, and he would be correct, because Fiddlesticks probably does like similar amounts of damage to Nunu, but he is attached with like this massive team CC, so it's pretty ridiculous. You can see he chooses to Ox Force this Fiddlesticks, and you're thinking, why doesn't he Ox Force the Urgot? This Urgot actually attacks units and this Fiddlesticks doesn't. But the thing is that Urgot actually has capped attack speed, and all Ox Force does is give you more attack speed on top of the invulnerability right before you die. But since Urgot's attack speed is capped, he doesn't Ox Force Urgot is not as good as you might think, because his attack speed is capped. Gunblade also just got buffed. I think he just went for Gunblade. Oh, look at the sword carousel. Every single item on that carousel was a sword. Gunblade just got buffed. Putting healing items on Urgot. Just putting on Fiddlesticks. Putting any items on Fiddlesticks is like really strong. You can see this player has a Windy Janna in, so after making Shroud, he's just trying to make sure he has the Shroud under the Windy Janna, because he can Shroud them before they move their entire board. And even if he's not going to like Shroud other people very well, it's just too much value to have that Shroud inside of the Windy Janna, so he's just trying to make sure he Shrouds that. And also to do like a catch 22, what is it saying? I don't even know. He puts the Urgot on the other side, so just in case he misses the Shroud, he'll at least get the Urgot cast to CC the entire Janna clump. Viego versus Nunu, triple locket. Okay, so we're now getting to stage 6. There is a Alistar and Zoe reroller in the lobby with Windy Janna. Is Alistar 3, Zoe 3. It's a pretty cool comp. But of course, Dish Soap is trying to get a first, so he's not going to let any of that happen. It's to level 9. He was super stable on level 8 with his board. Sends it on level 9. He's looking for upgraded 5 cost. He somehow hits 2 Fiddlesticks 2s. 2 Fiddlestick 2s. He doesn't know who to JG. He has this remover. He wants to fix his items on this Viego. So remember what I said, Viego with double healing items made sense at that point in time of the game because that's just the items that he was given. But it is going to fall off late stage 5, early stage 6. And so since he has this remover, he wants this JG to be on this Viego, but he's waiting to hit a Leona. He's going to put Leona in over Camille, which is why he just JG'd this Camille. And then he's going to remove the items on Viego, and he's going to fix these items so that he doesn't have 0 damage, all healing Viego build. And even though he wants this Leona, he's not in too much danger because he has 2 Fiddlesticks 2s. So even if he's losing fights, these Fiddlesticks are for sure going to wipe out a massive amount of units. He chooses to put in Windy Janna over this Urgot because Windy Janna is extremely strong. This kind of gives him the extra damage that he needs on this Viego. And whereas Urgot is not doing as much. I mean, the CC is insane, but he has 2 Fiddlesticks 2s, so he has a lot of CC already. He has nothing to go for here. This is pretty interesting. He chooses to go for this Urgot. I mean, this Mordekaiser. And the reason why he was also okay with getting Heartspat is because Heartspat is built with a tier. And just getting the faster cast was something that he was talking about why it was more useful. So obviously he doesn't have any heart units in, but yeah, since Heartspat is built with a tier and a spat, he just gets a quicker cast with his Mordekaiser, and he has like a higher potential to just wipe the team with the faster Mordekaiser cast. Also, if you do not know, Mordekaiser shreds the entire team, armor and MR. Or I mean, just MR, not armor. He shreds the entire team's MR after he casts, and you might think that it only happens like when they're in the Mordekaiser arena. But what actually happens is the whole team's armor or MR gets shred like once the cast goes off, and then it happens for the rest of the fight. Like it persists until the very end. So basically, the faster Mordekaiser cast you can get, the faster you can get this entire team like MR shred online. So faster cast Mordekaiser is really strong. And yeah, he kind of just wins that game by just having, you know, all these extremely powerful legendaries on his board. And I just thought that game was extremely interesting. It was a really good game to try and show you how to play from a low roll spot and how to play around Viego in the best way you possibly can. I hope you learned something. Like the video if you like it. Dish Soap is the GOAT, rank 1. I'll see you in the next video.